Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to be with you this evening. Thank you so much for carving time out of your day to be with your fellow Olympia Indivisible members. My name is Lisa Ornstein. I'm a co-founder of Olympia Indivisible, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm very, very grateful to have this hour together, to be in community as we process a very challenging moment in our nation's history. We'll do this together, and we will find actions that we can take together, knowledge that empowers us, and opportunities to process what we're feeling. Before we begin, I would like to do a land acknowledgement. So I want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of Puget Sound Salish people and the Sahawamish tribe. We acknowledge the sovereignty of the Nisqually, Puyallup, Squaxin, and Chehalis tribes, past and present, and express our gratitude to them and to the land itself. So just a quick housekeeping matter here. So that we can make this meeting available to those who were unable to attend. This is a short notice meeting. We are recording the main section of the meeting that's informational. We're therefore asking you to please stay muted so that the auto spotlight can work for that section. So right now we are recording. Let me just quickly go through the agenda. We'll be first beginning by taking a little time led by Melinda to process this moment that we're in. Many of us have been feeling some pretty difficult emotions, and it's good to be able to honor those emotions and get some help in how do we cope. Then we're going to be moving into actions that we can take right now. Then there's going to be a learning piece about how our state is positioned in terms of funding for reproductive rights and protection for those who provide them and those who seek them, and how our representatives are responding to this moment. And then in our last section, we'll be doing a kind of a brainstorm lightning round to see beyond what we have talked about, your ideas. What are your ideas about additional actions that we might take in response to the situation of the presumptive elimination of Roe v. Wade? So I'd like to turn things over now to Melinda, who's going to be talking about processing the moment.
Hi there, and welcome. These past 2 weeks have been tumultuous, and indeed the last 5 years have been. The Roe v. Wade draft leak has triggered many of us. A lot of us are old enough to remember before Roe v. Wade, and I know I am. And I also know that it triggered many emotions and memories for me, and not only about the rights of control over our own bodies, but other rights too. It may have triggered many things for you also. One of the ways to help deal with them is to know that we are not alone. So we're going to spend a few, going to share a few reactions if you're comfortable doing that. Personally, I felt intense anger, despair, outrage, fatigue, and sadness. Now, when I attended the impromptu rally the day after it was leaked at the Capitol, I did experience a sense of energy, especially when Thurston County Commissioner Mejia shared her story and led us in roaring out our anger together. The Temple of Justice and legislative buildings rang with it, I can tell you. It was a pretty loud roar. So what now? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about self-care. And the first step in self-care is to acknowledge what you're feeling and to honor it. And we're going to take about 2 minutes. And if you're comfortable, and this will not be recorded, this part won't be recorded. So just let you know, please write a word or two or a phrase that expresses what you're feeling in the chat. And the chat button is at the bottom of your page. And if you click on that, you can just write in a few words, and then I will be going through and sharing some of those without using your names. But then I'm going to summarize it and make a few suggestions about how we can actively take care of ourselves in this very difficult time. So I'm going to start looking in the chat, and
Thank you, Melinda. So I will say that I am very grateful to a fellow OI member, Carol, for taking me to Minus Mounds last week, where I had a chance to see the prairie in bloom and the camas and the buttercups and the desert parsley in such amazing beauty. And we were walking against a freezing, driving rain and wind. It was epic. It was at times almost biblical. And I was impressed by being surrounded by such beauty and resilience. At the same time, we were really experiencing some pretty challenging physical circumstances. And that just reminded me about how things can coexist. You know, so my message is that processing and self-care are critical, and processing and self-care can coexist with engagement. Engagement, after all, is about empowerment. And when we do it together, when we take the power that we have, it's uplifting. And that is why we tonight have put together actions that you can take starting this evening. I can guarantee you that taking action makes you feel better, especially when you do it with other people and you do it on a regular basis. It feels good and it's very steadying. So hopefully tonight there is something for everyone, big, small, at home or in person, you name it. And to get you started, I'm going to ask Sharon to drop into the chat a link to register for the Action Cafe. Action Cafe is a weekly noontime, lunchtime gathering where Chef Lisa, oh my goodness, that's me, shows up in an apron with a menu of main courses and small bites of action that we take together, accompanied by a good deal of fellowship and laughter and a themed fiddle tune. And in the space of an hour, you will take 5 or 6 impactful actions. So I just want to invite you, if you haven't come to the cafe, click on that link and register. We'll meet tomorrow at noon. And now I would like to segue into another action and ask Melinda to talk about getting out the vote, and also Rory, because one thing that we know for sure is that supporting candidates who are pro-democracy and pro-choice are one of our primary lines of defense now in fighting back for reproductive rights and reproductive justice. So Melinda, I'll turn it over to you.
Again, just letting you know that we are recording again, if you didn't hear the wonderful little voice. And I'm the team lead for helping to elect Dr. Kim Schreier in Congressional District 8. And the Roe v. Wade draft tells us in no uncertain terms that electing Democrats all up and down the ballot is vital, especially progressive ones who will lead the charge in protecting rights for everyone. Don't think that they're going to stop with reproductive rights. They're going to go for the whole thing. That's why I'm helping in CD8. Dr. Schreier is a pediatric physician with experience in the NICU. And for those that don't know that, that's the neonatal intensive care unit. And she is one of the people in the US House that counters the disinformation that gets put on by, I hate to say it, the Republicans of certain stripes who use their disinformation to try to attack our reproductive rights. And she counters it with factual, both facts and her personal experience. So here's how you can help. If you haven't already done it, there's a survey that's going to be in the chat, and also all the links are going to be sent out after our gathering too. So if you miss it here, you'll get it later. But this is an activity survey that our sister chapter, Indivisible Washington CD8, their group created so we can support their work for Schreier. We'll have access, our team will have access to that, and we'll be working with them to recruit and encourage engagement in a lot of different activities. And things like phone banking, canvassing, all those different kinds of things. And I've got a dynamic team, which I see one of right in that's here tonight, Eliana, which I appreciate. And also just a real brief, I'm trying to think of it. Just to let you know, Lisa and I are going to be canvassing next Sunday, the 22nd, for Dr. Schreier in the Graham, which is about 50 minutes from here. And I happened to, at one point in my life, live out by Graham. So I know that territory. And that's one of the reasons I volunteered to canvass out there. And I have never canvassed before. This is going to be a new experience. And I'm inviting, and Lisa and I are inviting you to carpool with us out to Graham next Sunday. They will train us, and it's from noon to 3. And we're going to be trying to get back to Olympia by 3:30. But, I'll give you the lowdown on who lives out there and what to expect. It is a bit, when they redistrict, they included Graham, and it's pretty Trumpy out there. But I'll be goddamn if I'm going to not let any kind of fear I have about Trumpsters stop me from going out there. And we will be not actually pushing Dr. Schreier so much as doing some deep listening and finding out what their concerns are. So they will have scripts, they're going to have training, and we will support each other in doing this vital work, because canvassing is one of the most effective ways to drum up support. Please drop your name into the chat to let us know if you're interested in carpooling with Lisa and I, and we're going to make it as fun as we can, knowing Lisa. And maybe there will be cookies involved. I don't know. There may, I'm a baker. There may be cookies involved. So come join us. Also, to support Dr. Schreier, you can sign up for phone banking that's ongoing now. It's Sundays at 3, Wednesdays at 4, Thursdays at 5:30. The CD8, the campaign, will be doing all the training and everything. All you need is a smartphone and a computer. You do it from your home. And the link to sign up is also in the chat, I hope, at this point. And like I said, these will be sent to you later. So if you miss the links right now, don't worry about it. And think of it, by the time the general rolls around in November, if you start now, you'll be such an expert. And so this is so important. This is going to be a vital battle for the nation in our own backyard. She is going to be under the gun. She already is. The Republicans have raised big time money. They're going after the redistricting, made her district much more purple than it was blue before. So we need your help. You talk about swing state, this is a swing district. So we need your help in CD8. And now here's Rory to tell you more about local elections that you can take action on. Thank you so much.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up with cookies. I mean, come on, Melinda. That's just too much. But anyways, hi everyone. So many of you know me, some of you may not. My name is Rory Summerson, and I am also the team leader for the candidate interface team here with OI. And so what I wanted to share with you today is that, as you know, we do have candidates that we opted to endorse early. Filing week in Thurston County is coming up rapidly as of next week. So candidates will start to see, if they're going to see, opponents start filing against them. We do have candidates that we have already endorsed. We have already endorsed Ty Menzer, Mary Hall, Representative Bateman, and Beth Dolio. And so if you would like to get involved with their campaigns, or if you would like to be somebody who represents the candidate interface team and OI as a liaison to a specific campaign that we've already endorsed, then I would encourage you to join the candidate interface team. That is going to be your best avenue to become directly involved with the campaigns that you are most interested in. And it will also give you an avenue and a path to encourage other members of OI to get involved and participate in the electoral cycle this year. As you know, and has already been stated in here a couple of times already, that the best way that we can be effective is to be active and to engage. And one of the best ways that we can engage is to support candidates that we know are going to be supportive of our ideals and the processes and the places we would like to see good governance to go. So I definitely encourage you to sign up to join the candidate interface team so that you can directly engage with campaigns this cycle as one action to take. And then do we have the links, Sharon, for the Beth Dolio dance party and to collect yard signs? And if we do, can we go ahead and get those into the chat? So Beth Dolio is having a dance party, which is you can RSVP now for a free ticket to go to the dance party. It's on May 22nd from 2 to 4:30 p.m. And so there is a registration there. So feel free to go ahead and make a contribution to Beth Dolio's campaign and or to register for a ticket to go to the dance party. And then additionally, the link for the Bateman campaign, the Bateman campaign is offered to connect us with yard signs for Mary Hall's campaign, for Ty Menzer's campaign, as well as Dolio's campaign, and her own campaign, of course. And so that's a good mechanism by which you could collect yard signs. If you are interested in yard signs, they will deliver them for you so that you don't have to go anywhere to get them. If you're the kind that loves to traverse Olympia and wants to go pick up your own yard sign, you can also do that down at the 4th Avenue House in Olympia, which is kind of the local Democratic hub for the Thurston County Dem Women and a couple of other groups, campaign organizations for the Democrats. So if you would like more information about that, you can reach out to me. Again, please consider joining the candidate interface team so that we can continue to bring these excellent opportunities to membership and so that we can be more engaged with the candidates that we are endorsing. With that, I would love to turn it over to Lisa and or Andrew to talk a little bit more about Indivisible Vashon's resource site. Oh,
Lisa, you're muted.
Lisa.
Thanks, Rory. I'm going to let Andrew off the hook on this. So I'll just make this short but brief. Okay, first of all, look, folks, we've already given you 3 different things you could do next Sunday to make a difference. You can come canvass with Melinda and I, and watch out, there might be cookies. You could go get your funk on at Beth Dolio's dance party. Or let's just say, look, you just don't feel safe being out, or you've got mobility issues, whatever it is, stay home, but make a donation on that same registration site for Beth Dolio. You can make a donation. And whatever you do, if you haven't taken Kim Schreier's survey, please take that survey. Okay, so look, let's say that you're super passionate about a swing state that is not Washington. I just want to ask Sharon to please drop a link, the link to Indivisible Vashon's 2020 elections one-stop shopping, where you can find out how you can connect up with the key federal races across the nation. That is a great site to go visit, and Kevin Jones has been very thorough about it. It's being updated constantly with a calendar that allows you to pick, if you have a couple of hours any given day, an activity to do. So please do check that out. All right. Well, look, thank you so much. And I'm just going to jump right into our next section, which is knowledge is power, folks. So we are very fortunate to live in the state of Washington. And I took some time this past week to reach out to some of our legislators in Legislative District 22 to find out about funding and about protections and about what our representatives are saying. And Sharon, I wonder if you'd be kind enough to drop into the chat the link to that document. I'm not going to take time now to go into any details, but I do want to let you know that over the last 4 sessions for the last 2 biennium, funding has substantially increased in the state of Washington to ensure that reproductive health providers have the funds that they need to do the work that is so vital. In 2020, that was not the case. In fact, Planned Parenthood had to close down 3 centers because of inadequate funding. This was a direct result of the Trump administration slashing funding to reproductive health care providers that offered abortion services. But the state of Washington stepped up, took up the slack, and also in the last session has passed additional legislation that protects reproductive health care providers and the women who seek their services, and also ensures that insurers for our higher education students provide the same access to these services as folks who are out in the workforce. So do take a look. But the moral of the story is, this is why it is so vital that you get involved in this midterm cycle, because the only reason that Washington looks as good as it does is because we have a blue trifecta. And we know now at this point of the game that the GOP is voting on party lines, stripping away rights. So we need to really step up to the moment. I just want to encourage you to do so. So I'm going to turn things back to Rory, because one of the ways that you can support is by being a checkbook warrior. So here's Rory.
Oh, of course. Send the spunky one in for the ask, of course. But that's okay, because I know the importance of it, right? So we have 2 opportunities for those of you who find that your time and energy is better suited to writing out a donation or filling in a donation slip. We can accommodate that as well. So what we did is we pulled together some opportunities for you to make a donation. And I'm going to read to you just a little bit of information about the 2 opportunities that we've come up with for you for this section on taking an action. So if you donate to Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho, what you're supporting is the Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho has been helping people to make responsible decisions about their sexual health for over 50 years, dedicated to delivering the highest quality reproductive health services since 1967. They're also committed to providing responsible, age-appropriate sexuality education. Protecting a woman's fundamental right to choose is a major part of their underlying philosophy. So that's an amazing opportunity to directly engage in action by financially supporting to that organization. The other organization that we're promoting, or at least bringing forward for you to decide whether you wanted to support, was the Northwest Abortion Access Fund. The fund is a fund serving Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska. Trained compassionate volunteer advocates run their toll-free hotline. The NAAF helps people pay for their abortion care by sending funding directly to the clinic. They also help people to get to and from the clinics. And they make sure that people traveling for care have a safe place to stay. So if you are looking for a good opportunity to help women directly who are experiencing situations where they may need to seek that care, then a financial contribution to that organization will help directly with those services. So we definitely encourage you to consider financial ways that you can take action if other mechanisms for taking action are not the best fit for you. Thank you. And so with that, I will turn it back over to Lisa to talk a little bit about volunteering.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much. And so you see, folks, here are all kinds of actions that we've named so far that you can take right now. And I just want to let you know that I sometimes feel like the last several months have been this just unending need for help, and all the help, and it's all compelling calls for help. And so I've gotten to the point where I make small donations because it's what I can do, and I know it will make a difference. And that way I can kind of spread my largesse over the greatest area possible. So I just want to encourage you, you do not have to make a big donation. You know, a $5 donation, if all the people in this room make a $5 donation, that's going to make a difference. So I just want to let you know, let yourself off the hook on that, but consider making small donations. It's a good thing. And I believe that both those organizations' links to donate have been dropped into the chat. And we'll also be sending them out. Now, I would like to talk to you about another way you can help. Hey, let's just say finances are tight. Hey, I get it. But you know what? You can volunteer. And you can volunteer with what is called the Planned Parenthood Action Fund. And when you sign up to be a volunteer with Planned Parenthood Action Fund, they will connect you with a steady stream of resources, training, and anything else you need to help defeat anti-reproductive rights lawmakers, stop bad laws, and protect access to Planned Parenthood health centers. You can choose how you want to help, whenever you have the time, and there's no experience necessary. From flooding a member of Congress with calls to joining a phone bank or meeting other volunteers online or reminding friends or neighbors to register to vote, whatever it'll be, it's what's truly needed, right when it's needed most, and they will give you the support and instruction you need to take action. So we're dropping a link right now into the chat. And that's another one that you might want to consider. Step up and volunteer. Volunteer to help Planned Parenthood. So with that, I would like to turn things back to Rory for our next section, our lightning round of brainstorming with you.
Okay, so first, because we're running a little bit ahead of schedule because we're quick talkers and we are having fun here with this conversation, getting people involved. Bob, are we ready with the breakout rooms?
Setting that up for 10 minutes and adding the fourth room, yes.
Okay, so while Bob is getting that finalized, basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be splitting the attendees of the meeting up today into a couple of different breakout rooms. That'll give us this kind of a more intimate setting to have a conversation about what ideas you could bring forth that we haven't done or haven't tried yet, or different ways that we could be active or be engaged in making a difference on reproductive rights. And so what we encourage encourage you to do when you get into the room is bear with us because it will take just a moment for everybody to make sure that they're connected and that we have our leads in the correct rooms. What we'd like to do is we'd like to have one of us in each room to kind of take notes and facilitate the conversation a little bit. And so really what we're trying to do is get some actionable items out of each and every one of you, some thoughts, and then we're going to bring those back and each breakout room will basically decide on which actionable item that was thought of during that time as kind of like the most popular option. And then we'll report out on the most popular option when we rejoin the main room. So once Bob is ready, he will automate the breakout rooms. It'll put you into the breakout rooms. So you may have a pop-up that says accept. So go ahead and do that when that pops up. You'll land in that breakout room and then you'll be able to begin your discussion on some actionable items and ideas that we can bring forward to the organization for future possibilities and different ways that we can engage in the community. I'll go ahead and share what my team came up with just as a kind of to kick the ball off. And then the rest of our team leaders that were leading those breakout rooms can then chime in and share what the most popular best idea that their breakout room came up with. Two really great thoughts actually came in. We had more of a conversational style rather than trying to come up with specific actions, and that's perfectly acceptable. It's a great way to come up with good ideas to take action on. And so they're both kind of somewhat related, but one of them was to provide more education and resources about long-acting contraceptives. And the addendum to that was to target some of that education to men for education on vasectomies, because we agreed that we don't think that women should bear the burden on this education and taking action for reproductive rights. So those were the two, but also one amazing options for us to take action on. And so with that, I would love to turn it over to one of our other breakout room leaders to share what their team came up with.
Hey, Rory. So group 4 also had a really good conversation, despite of my hoarse voice. And I think one of the big things that came out of ours was how organizing in these kind of activities can help bring people into the activities where you're bringing information out and getting it to the people that are getting their information from campaigns or social media or the other places. These really filtered and not getting kind of the open discussions about rights and about issues that maybe don't affect them. So communication through organizing is one of the big things that came out in our discussion.
Thanks for sharing, Andrew. I'm so appreciative of that. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Lisa.
Okie doke. All right. Thank you so much. So we had a great conversation. The ideas that came out were letter writing. This is something that has been very meaningful for the person who was proposing. This was writing letters to support voting in general and specific candidates, getting funding which will help women travel to get the care that they need. We know that 26 states are going to basically ban abortion if the Roe v. Wade decision goes through. That's work that we can do. Any of you coming to the Action Cafe will have actions around that, doing just that. Supporting our 2 senators who have been championing women's reproductive rights. Check out the article in the Washington Post about Patty Murray that came out today, folks. Sending postcards and letters to every SCOTUS member. I know some people are not sending letters and postcards, they're sending coat hangers. More education. Oh, and so those are just a few, those were the top line ideas that came out of our discussion group. Hey, Melinda, how about your group?
Well, we had a wide range of ideas. One was to kind of issue a position statement that an embryo isn't a human being, and that we might pick up votes that way. And part of that is that there are certain religious traditions that identifying an embryo as a human being is trampling on their religious freedom. And I'm thinking of Judaism in particular. So the religious freedom is being threatened by this, which is something people don't hear about. Another idea was to reach out to Republicans who support women's reproductive rights. Somebody pointed out that, you know, if 70% of the nation support reproductive rights, that's a good chunk of those people are Republicans, and we need to stop doing the us versus them and unlink from the political partisanship and speak to people and try to get them to get active and vote for people who support women's right to choose. Other ideas included looking at some of the hidden consequences of trampling on reproductive rights, such as overpopulation, you know, tie it into climate and what's happening to our earth, and also the hidden consequences of the effects of these kind of anti-rights, the hidden consequences on fertility clinics and how they're going to have to shuffle and change how they deal with people that they're working with, because you create a lot of embryos when you're trying to do IVF and all those kinds of things. So there are hidden consequences that maybe need to be publicized a little more, both in the climate and fertility clinics and religious freedom. So I think overall, I would say that it's one, try not to polarize, and two, to bring out some of the aspects that aren't talked about as frequently.
That's awesome, Melinda, that you guys, each and every one of us in these breakouts got to experience something really fun tonight, in that we collectively came up with a ton of ideas for how we can engage, how we can make a difference. And that process is so much easier when we break it into small chunks and work in teams on that process. So, you know, as you know, the steering committee is itself a team. And so we only have a couple of brains between us that we can come up with these great ideas on how to take action in our community. So when we bring it to the membership, like we've done tonight, to come up with a ton more ideas, it just goes to show you what the diversity of thought can really accomplish. So thank you so much, each and every one of you, for participating in that process. If it was painful for you, I apologize, but the end result is incredibly positive. We will be able to bring forward a bunch of new ways that we can take action in our community and be effective in making a difference. So thank you again. And with that, I would love to turn it over to Lisa to round out our meeting tonight.
Okay, thank you so much, Rory. Hey, you know, look, I would like to just extend an invitation. If you want to get in touch directly with me, I invite you to do so. If you come up with an idea and it didn't get shared tonight, please, olympia.indivisible@gmail.com. If you are passionate enough that you would like to step up maybe and lead a group that's going to, you know, this is how we get our work done, is in teams. So if you're feeling the burn, man, get in touch with me, please. That, you know, will help make that happen. That's our secret power. With that, I would like to just simply let you know that there is an upcoming activity on Monday, May 23rd, that we would really like to see a strong turnout from Olympia Indivisible members are. And this is a co-hosted actually, I can't, we are supporting Gray Indivisible, who are our hosts for a presentation by Mary Hall, our county auditor, ardent champion of voting rights. And she is going to be speaking about the big lie of 2020 through the perspective of a public electoral workers and how that has impacted the work that they do. I think this is very consequential. And she's also going to be talking about the safety of elections and pushing back against disinformation. This is powerful knowledge that we will all be able to put to work as we go forward. So I just want to encourage you, this is going to be 9:45 a.m. Monday, May 23rd. Come to 1751 Circle Lane Southeast in Lacey. That's Panorama. And a volunteer will come out and meet you by the colorful Chihuly glass fountain. And there's ample parking in the 2 lots adjacent to the right of the traffic circle. So that's another good way to take action. So with that, I want to, yeah. So with that, I don't know how, like, I wish that there was like a big hug reaction, because that's what I'm feeling right now. A big, big, big hug to all of you for turning out. We will work together in friendship and solidarity, with laughter, with determination and resolve, moving forward with your help. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to call it a wrap right now, but we are going to leave the room open now for the next 20 or 30 minutes for a after party, and you are all invited. So if you would like to hang out with us and continue the conversation, please stay on board. Otherwise, we want to thank you for coming. We will be putting out a recording of tonight's meeting. We will be sending out all of the links to the membership, and we look forward to working with you as we go forward. Thank you so much.